Hey, it's Mike Chen. Immortality is something a lot of people strive for in their lifetimes. But is it possible? Is it possible for people, for us, for humans to live forever? And if so, has someone throughout history already discovered the secret? And that's what we're going to talk about today, because throughout the 18th century, there was an unusual character who carried with him an air of mystique which none during his lifetime had arguably ever matched or neared. He was a man of apparent wealth, influence, and prosperity, who was known to have come and gone in various royal courts in Europe. He was considered as a person of great interest and influence, and whose heritage was often attributed to Transylvanian royalty. This man is known as the Count of Saint Germain, and some have said that apart from advising the elite governing bodies by day and dining with the rich aristocrats by night, he was also an immortal who had somehow managed to uncover the secrets to eternal youth. Aside from allegations that he could live forever, Saint Germain, as we mentioned before, was also known to be a man of obvious wealth. This led some people to believe that he also mastered alchemy and learned the secrets of transmutation, which gave him unlimited access to untold wealth. Throughout his life, he was also lauded for his many abilities and praised for his seemingly endless amounts of knowledge. His involvement with secret organizations further prompted his reputation as some sort of almost divine esotericist. So who was this mysterious man, and are these stories that speak of his immortality mere legends? Or could it be possible that he really did discover the path to perpetually evading aging and death? The Count of Saint Germain was a mysterious gentleman who appeared among the European royal families in the 18th century and was known as the Wonder Man or the Miracle Man. He was reportedly a man of many talents and skills, particularly in fields like chemistry, music, alchemy, and magic. While he had no visible means of support, he did not lack in resources either. Depending on which historical and personal accounts you refer to, he has been considered at one point or another as a prophet, a charlatan, a healer, a spy, and a visionary. Myths and speculations about the Count of Saint Germain started to become more widespread around the late 19th century and early 20th century. He is often referenced in theosophy, which is a collection of mystical and occultist philosophies concerning the presumed mysteries of life and nature, particularly the nature of divinity, as well as the origin and purpose of the universe. There are also those who claim that he is the founder of Freemasonry and inspired several of the American founding fathers. Others believe that he had once hid behind the identity and scientific genius of Francis Bacon, and that he was the real writer of most literary works attributed to Shakespeare. However, in several New Age movements, the Count of Saint Germain is heralded as the avatar of the Age of Aquarius and is deemed to be an ascended master that is on the same level as history's greatest spiritual leaders. There are a variety of versions regarding the origin, lineage, and the life of the Count of Saint Germain. His exact date of birth is, of course, unknown, but most accounts claim that he was born in the 1690s. One version regarding his origin and lineage describes him as the son of Francis Rakoczy, the Prince of Transylvania, by Rakoczy's first wife. There are also claims that he was the illegitimate son of Mary Anna, who was the widow of Charles II of Spain. Another version alleges that he is the illegitimate son of the King of Portugal, presumed to be John V by a Jewish mother. According to some sources, especially those who believe that he is of Transylvanian nobility, Saint Germain was not his real last name. It was reportedly invented by him as a French version of the Latin term Sanctus Germanus, which translates to Holy Brother. Saint Germain first came into prominence in the high society of Europe in 1742, when he would have been a man in his 40s. Little is known about his life before this time. A dossier on the mysterious count was created by the order of French Emperor Napoleon III in the 19th century, but all the documents about Saint Germain were destroyed in a fire, resulting to the loss of irreplaceable information about him. Also, the Count's own secretiveness has not helped in uncovering the mystery surrounding his life either. It was said that from 1737 until 1742, the Count of Saint Germain was supposedly in Persia studying alchemy. He arrived in Versailles in 1742 before reaching England in 1743. He also went to Vienna to visit Frederick the Great before heading to Edinburgh in 1745. The Count also went to India in the 1750s, and when he returned, he earned the favor of King Louis XV and was invited to stay in the royal chateau of Chambord in Touraine. He also supposedly spent some time in Russia, Germany, and Bavaria. This guy was also reportedly a smoozer. The Count of Saint Germain reportedly rubbed elbows with the likes of Marie Antoinette, Casanova. He beguiled royalty and the wealthy with his vast knowledge of science and history, his musical ability, his charm, and his quick wit. He was a renowned conversationalist who could flawlessly converse in Swedish, Portuguese, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and Russian, and was even familiar with Chinese, Latin, Arabic, ancient Greek, and Sanskrit. Because of his many talents, he was said to have served as a back-channel diplomat between England and France, and is thought to have played some role in Freemasonry. Despite his many merits, the Count was also said to possess several habits that most people would find odd. According to some accounts, he never ate in public, but he would often be seen drinking a special tea frequently. He also reportedly dropped hints that he was centuries old, and that he often made unusual comments about his age. He also spoke of times which have long passed as if he had been there, and there were claims that he could grow diamonds and fix flawless ones. In 1779, he traveled to Hamburg, Germany, where he befriended Prince Charles of Hessen-Kassel. For the next 5 years, he lived as a guest in the prince's castle at Eckernförde, and according to local records, that is where Saint Germain died on February 27, 1784. Now, for any ordinary mortal, death would be the end of their life story. However, that was not the case for the Count of Saint Germain. Reports arose suggesting that he was an immortal who had discovered the elixir of life through alchemy and a prophet who possessed mystical powers. It is also believed by many that the Count of Saint Germain was an ascended master of ancient wisdom, making him the head of a theosophical belief system which believes that the wisdom required to eventually unify the spirits and the material aspects of the universe can be acquired through reincarnation. The Count of Saint Germain, along with other masters, supposedly have achieved the same kind of ascension as Jesus of Nazareth in the Holy Bible. His followers think that the enigmatic man was actually reincarnated over and over again prior to his birth as Saint Germain as various prominent figures in the historical timeline. These figures were all people of great importance, and all of them left a resounding and lasting effect on the history of the world. And if this was true, there are speculations of who the Count was in past lives. The Count is believed to have adopted numerous incarnations as well as alter egos, which include some of history's most brilliant minds. The first supposed incarnation of the Count is that of a high priest of the Violet Flame Temple, and this is over 50,000 years ago. He is recorded next as the prophet Samuel from the Old Testament, and then Joseph, Mary's husband. One of his most intriguing alleged incarnations, however, is that of Merlin, a counselor in the court of King Arthur and a possible wizard. He is also considered to have been Saint Alban, the first British martyr for the Christian faith, who existed sometime during the 3rd or 4th century. And because of this, to many Ascension followers, the Count of Saint Germain is still out there somewhere. They believe that he continues to be reincarnated and is currently alive and living in Tibet with the same youthful physical body he possessed in the medieval period. The most recent appearance of a man claiming to be the Count was in 1972 in Paris, France. A man named Richard Chanfray appeared on French television to prove claim that he was Saint Germain. And I don't know if this is true or not, but he apparently turned lead into gold on a camp stove before the cameras. Unfortunately, if you want to find this guy and ask him some questions about immortality and maybe steal the Holy Grail from him, I'm sorry to say that Chanfray later committed suicide in 1983. So in conclusion, who was the Count of Saint Germain? Was he a successful alchemist who found the key to achieving eternal life? Was he a time traveler? Or was he just a highly intelligent individual whose impressive reputation eventually morphed into a fantastic legend? At this point, it is quite impossible to tell. We may never know the truth behind his story, as it has been told so many times in so many ways that the truth, I'm sure, got lost along the way. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that the legacy of the Count of Saint Germain endures because of the mystical and esoteric appeal of his life. This topic actually really reminds me of the Dalai Lama and the Panchen Lama, because the way these lamas are selected is through the belief of reincarnation. So what happens is, at least this is just what I know of the situation, when the Lama gets older and he's about to die, he tells of the area, the village even, of where he will be reincarnated next. And then his followers will show up with personal effects of his, and they would ask him to identify these artifacts, and that's how they choose the next Lama. Unfortunately for the Panchen Lama, as soon as he was identified, he was basically taken by the Chinese Communist government, and a new Panchen Lama that Beijing said is the real Panchen Lama is now the Panchen Lama, if that makes any sense. So essentially, the real Panchen Lama is either locked up still, or unfortunately, he has died. And I bring that up because a whole culture of people believes in that, believes that these leaders are the reincarnations of themselves. So I guess it could be true in the case of Count Saint Germain, where he is the reincarnation of himself throughout, I don't know, maybe eternity. Anyway, really interesting topic. Hope you guys like this video. And if you do, please hit that thumbs up button. I would really appreciate that. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later.